How's everyone doing? I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and reviews that I feel are very incorrect. This is my 1944 Nagant Revolver. For those of you that are calling it a Mosin Nagant, that is incorrect. There's no such thing as a Mosin Nagant Revolver. It is a Nagant Revolver. A lot of people are saying it's a lot of negative feedback on this gun. Honestly, this was my first gun, and you know what? Even if it was my 50th gun, I'd still buy it. It's fun, it's unique, it's cool. Show you a few quick features and some other things that I feel were less than covered on the internet. So, number one, it's got a nice weight to it. It's well balanced. It's hefty. I mean, you could build a house with this thing. It's probably stronger than the hammer I have in my closet. Anyways, now it's a double action. It's a heavy trigger pull. I think it's about like a 45-pound trigger pull. Not something that a lot of people like. I do like a heavy trigger though. So that's, double action, meaning you can pull the hammer back and or use the trigger instead. Now something else that I feel was less than covered was how to take apart the gun, how to load the gun, things like that. So, to do so, let's see if I can do this with one hand. There's a, see if we can get a little closer. I apologize for the video quality. There's a lever right here, alright? It's only on the right side of the gun. You can see. Alright, you put that down. Now, honestly, if I look closely at the gun, it does rub. I think they're supposed to. I load the gun like this, with the lever halfway up. See if we can look through at the floor here. It's a 7-round cylinder. There is aftermarket for it. It shoots a 7.62 round, I think it is. It's kind of late. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Anyways, you can get a 32 ACP round as well, cylinder replacement, which I understand has some sort of customization needed to do so. Anyways, here, let's put that lever back up. To disassemble the gun, it's actually very, very simple. Lever down. You can see in the front here. I'm going to twist that. It's about 90-degree twist. I'm going to pull that out. I don't know if you can see this. Now on the top here, which might actually be impossible to see with this video quality, there's a very, very small notch that's actually in the front of the gun. I'm going to have to use both hands, I think. Maybe not. Now you can turn this. I don't know if you can see, but there is another notch that I need to line up, which I'm going to use both hands, so give me one sec. It's a sweet spot to make this portion of it, see if I can do this, come up to the side. And that sweet spot is the only place that will allow you to take out the lock for the cylinder down here, and that's this. Pull it straight out. I'm going to just put it down right there for a second. Okay, so now with the lever down, you've got the, I call it a ram bar, because that's what I called it when I got the gun. It's used to, and I'll show you shortly, take the bullets out, or the empty cartridges. So from there, you can take your 7, and you saw it slid right out, your 7-round cylinder. It's got a spring on there, and I'll show you in a minute what that's for. Take that cylinder out, and you've got a disassembled gun. Now, for those of you that don't know gun safety of any sorts, I would highly advise storing the gun and the cylinder in separate places, even if the gun is locked up. You don't want these things to be used against you in your own home. Doesn't matter what kind of gun it is. Alright, so now, with that being said, we can just assemble that back together. Like I said, the spring I'd explain. The spring prevents you, let's see if I can switch hands here. The spring prevents you from just putting it back in. Push the spring in. I don't know if you can see this. Push the spring in. Put it back in place. Now mind you, I'm doing this all with one hand. This is truly a fun and easy gun to I guess, toy around with, but once again, it's hardly a toy. So now that you've got that in place, sort of actually, hang on. There we go. Now that we've got that in place, we're going to go ahead and make sure that that hole down there, once again, one hand, this hole is where we're going to put our cylinder lock, is what I'll call it. I'll try to do this holding the gun with one finger here. So now the cylinder lock is going to look like this on the end of it, and that's going to be facing like this with the gun. Same way that you took it out. If you took it apart, you can put it back together. Excuse me while I point the camera elsewhere. Alright, now if you've got it lined up, if you don't have it lined up, let me see here, let me unline it. It'll hit and you won't be able to put it back in. Fairly easy to line up. If you've built a Lego, you can do this. Once again, with one hand it is difficult. Alright, there we go. Should slide in all the way. From there, obviously you're going to put the, once again, I'll just call it the ramrod, back in, and you're going to push the ramrod all the way back and turn it the opposite 90 degrees that you turned it before. You can load the gun from there, flip up your lever here. Alright, now, this is a long video already. Show you a couple more quick things and then we'll call it a day. This gun's unique. It has a unique round, which aren't exactly easy to come by, but where I live, they aren't hard to come by. It makes a gas seal. Let's see when you get a little closer here. As you see, as I'm pulling the hammer back, it makes a gas seal there at the front, making it so when you pull the trigger, I don't know, something happens. It's exciting, to say the least. At any rate, so yes, heavy trigger. When you pull back the hammer here, it's a lot less. It's probably less than half of what it is if you're just pulling the trigger without pulling back your hammer. So I mean, it's very little movement needed, but it is kind of a heavy pull. At about 35 feet, 50 feet, even 60 feet, I was able to get 2 full cylinders. That's 14 rounds, almost all in the same spot downrange. Once you get used to it, it's a real fun gun to handle. It's really easy to handle. Now, one more thing. This hammer, some people don't know, it's replaceable. It does break. It's nothing to worry about. I've never had to replace it, but it is a moving hammer. Some people don't like that. Okay, so there's your Nagant Revolver. Now, any questions, please feel free to post them, ask. I will make videos as need be. I'll take a video of me shooting if you'd like. I'm soon going to get these grips replaced and custom made. I think that's everything you need to know. So, any questions, please feel free to ask.